Hey everybody, Nakatulili here. I am here in Final Fantasy XIV, and you just got to postgame. So scroll on down and queue up for hard mode Ifrit. Show you what gear I'm going into this fight with. I've geared myself down to something a little more appropriate to what you would be fighting him with. I'm using Ifrit's weapon because I don't actually have anything weaker on me, but I'm wearing regular AF and some darklight accessories, which really means I'm a little over-geared than what you would be expected to be going into this, but oh well. What I'm going to be doing here is showing essentially a poor man's run of this. In Final Fantasy XIV, once you beat the main storyline, the first thing you're told to do is to go fight Ifrit. Now, technically, you may want to run a couple dungeons, get a couple items before you gear into this one, but we're gonna show you this one first just cuz, and maybe we'll get to some dungeons later. What I'd like to do with this video, and a couple videos that I have planning to come, is essentially give a poor man's run of these, a common man's run. These are not expert runs, these are not, oh, we got our whole free company together and they all got Relic +1 and they're all awesome at this game and they're all just going to be able to wreck face going in there and have a perfect run. I want to show you what the average guy is going to have to deal with, which, to be honest, is me, and how I play through this game and what I do in various places. I don't have a huge lot of stuff to rely on. I can't count on everybody acting perfectly. A lot of the time you're stuck dealing with not exactly the best, and a lot of people are stuck not dealing with exactly the best. Now, I know there's people in the comments that are going to be saying, oh, well, you can just go find a group to do this, and yada yada, and not everybody can. Again, this is a common man's run. I'll also add, I know I do not play Monk nearly as well as I potentially could. I'm also not looking for critiques and criticism as to how I play. I generally know what I'm doing enough to get by, and to be honest, that's the most I care about. I'm not looking to try to play this as the most elite of the elite people out there. I'm just trying to have fun playing a game. So let's fast forward a little bit to when the queue actually gets here. Hey! I always wait for a second, just to make sure nobody's going to drop out or anything dumb. Hit OK, we're waiting. Come on. Come on, 4th damage. Come on. Yeah! And with that, Ifrit hard mode begins. The first thing you're going to do in this is see a cutscene, and the first thing you're going to want to do is hit escape twice and click on yes, so you're not wasting people's time, because we've all got crap to do and lives to live. Okay, so we're zooming out to fight Ifrit. First thing you do once you're inside is look at the DPS on the left and make sure there is at least one mage. I say this because if there's not at least one mage, taking down the nail phase of this is going to be exceptionally difficult, and to be honest, I don't trust people in the Duty Finder to be able to find their butt with both hands, so I certainly don't trust them to be able to handle the nail phase without a mage. I'll get to that later, though. Now, Ifrit really isn't that hard a fight. In fact, you honestly have to try to mess up this fight. But, people find a way. Now, there are 2 tanks in here, hopefully. One of them is a paladin, otherwise you may have to step up to the plate a little bit, but thankfully we do have a paladin. And everybody runs in, and the main tank pulls Ifrit. Everybody else will run in like an idiot. I stand back, because the first thing Ifrit does is that. Now you can run in and start beating on him. He will continue to do that attack as the fight goes on, but it's generally not a big deal. It doesn't do a huge amount of damage, but I figure I can dodge that first one real easy, so I might as well. At the beginning of the fight, Ifrit is really not doing anything of worry. You can generally just stand there off to his side and DPS him. He does have a couple attacks that you will want to pay attention to, one of which is Eruption. Now, the second tank, the Paladin, you'll notice the Warrior is the main tank here. The Paladin is the backup tank. The Paladin is the backup tank because he really only has one job in this fight, and that is to stun Eruption. If you do not have a Paladin to stun Eruption, it's going to be a lot more difficult to keep it consistently stunned. This is the other attack you're going to have to worry about. And then Ifrit drops back down. There he is. Ifrit will jump up in the air, land somewhere, and he will dash across the screen. So when he does that, just make sure you're out of his way. Then, take note of where the tank is, because Ifrit's going to jump up in the air and land right next to the tank. And if you're standing too close, you will take a little bit of damage from Ifrit hitting the ground. It's not too much, but if I can avoid a little bit of damage, I will. So just stand back far enough and then run right back up and beat on him again. He jumps up again, get out of his way. He dashes, stand away from the tank. Ifrit lands, and you run up and beat on him again. There's the Eruption. Backup tank stunned it, so all is going well. The fight will get a little bit more complicated here soon, but right now, it's really not that bad. You really just have to worry about, oh, there we go. As soon as you see him say, succumb to the Inferno, he will add a new attack to his repertoire. These are the Plumes. Eruption is still coming, which needs to be stunned. Eruption, if it's not stunned, will cause a number of very large explosions in the arena that can wipe out. There's the Radiant Plume I mentioned. You'll see the large symbols on the ground. You will want to get out of the way of those. As long as you're standing on Ifrit's side, they should be pretty easy to just step one way or the other as they need to go. You can see eruptions going off right there, which means they did not get stunned appropriately. Eruptions are, and we lost a white mage because of it, so that's pretty great. Actually, no, that's not a white mage, I don't think. That's probably a scholar? Other healing mage. Also, Ifrit now has 2 clones of himself that do the dash, so make sure not to get hit by either of them. Eruption, though, when not stunned, as I was trying to say before, will cause just a very large explosion around random parts in the arena. There is a heads up, so you can try to get out of the way, but it is very large and does a lot of damage and is sort of difficult. We're better off just stunning it. And if you don't stun it, the mages will probably die. Now once you do enough damage, the nails will spawn. I tend to try to DPS down the one nearest to Ifrit as quickly as possible, but you're going to want to wait for one of the mages, the attack mages, in this case we have 2 black mages, to limit break these nails, which will do a lot of damage to the nails. He did, and there's a surprising amount of health left on them because we didn't really get a very high level limit break on him. Thankfully, we're going to do as much damage as we can to take down the remaining nails. I changed off the one I was on because I didn't realize the limit break went off. Usually it just kills the nails outright. But once you kill all the nails, Ifrit will jump up in the air, do a very large, very damaging attack. If you do not kill the nails fast enough, that attack will wipe the party. No questions asked. He will once again do the burst. I happen to be standing about 3 inches too close to him. And now, again, he's using the same attacks as before. He will use Radiant Plume, he will use Eruption, and he will use his big dash across the screen. However, each time they are getting more powerful and more difficult to avoid than before. You see, he now does 3 dashes. Now, the dashes do go in order. If you're facing Ifrit, like if you're facing each other, the dashes will always go left to right. He still does the plumes. They will go along the outside. Then they will go along the inside. Again, as long as you're standing on Ifrit's side, really not a big deal to dodge those. However, he will also, as long as Eruption keeps getting stunned. Now, you do not want to just stun willy-nilly in this fight. He will build up a stun resistance if you do. So you want to stun Eruption and only Eruption. And let the Paladin do the stunning. Or if you don't have a Paladin, make sure you know what you're doing. Otherwise, you're going to build up a stun resistance. And come the end, he's going to start doing eruptions, and you're not going to be able to stun it, and half the party is just going to wipe. We've built up in a level 3 limit break. Oh, here we are. You see the one on the left is going to go first, then middle, then right. You can use that very easily to get out of the way in time. Sometimes you can get caught out of position, though, and you're just going to have to learn to thread that needle. But use that, do what you can. Now, once again, Radiant Plume goes on the inside, or on the outside, then on the inside. As long as you're standing on the edge, it's not a big deal. Keep beating him down. Eruption should get stunned. Now, he does have another Radiant Plume, which should be coming up here soon. Actually, he may knock us backward. Nope, there it is. Which covers the vast majority of the arena. There will, however, always be a safe spot near Ifrit. So even the mages are going to want to crowd in for that one. And then they'll immediately want to get the crap away because he's going to do that. But that's really about it. Keep hammering him down. I will say, that was a level 3 limit break. I did not do that one. I would have liked to. I'd like to take credit for that one. But no. Oh, he's going to do the dash again. That's about it for the Ifrit fight, though. Overall, not a super hard fight, but you're going to be doing it a lot because you're going to want to get Ifrit's weapon before you tackle Garuda. That's going to be a story for another time. I will say I'm telling this story from my own perspective, which is as a melee DPS. I've done these fights enough that I do generally sort of know what the other classes... Hey, there's the win. I do generally sort of know what the other classes are in for, but I cannot give specifics as to what it is exactly that they're going to be doing. So apologies if I can't get into too much depth aside from just not dying. For killing Ifrit, you see a weapon show up. I don't need it. So I'm out. Till next time, everyone.